Our principle today is praxis, which is, of all the 7 principles, the one I think that people wrestle with the most, maybe because of the word praxis. It's a little confusing for some people. And I actually thought about changing it, but then when I did, I asked people and they said, no, you got to keep the word praxis, so it's out of my hands. I'm going with praxis. Well, the idea of praxis, the concept, and the word has been around since Aristotle. It's a way of understanding meaningful work where our purpose is manifested in what we do. We really feel that what we're doing is really important, and we're not learning something in some kind of arbitrary way. What we're doing is we're really taking some learning and we're applying it to life. The first person who got me thinking about much of this, as always, I suppose, is Paulo Freire. In the Pedagogy of the Oppressed, he has this to say about praxis. He just says, praxis is, he says, revolutionary. It's reflection and action upon the world in order to transform it. To speak a true world is to transform the world. And so praxis is this deep, meaningful, powerful work where we focus on clarity and truth and important critical analysis of what's happening around us, which I know probably made things more confusing. And just to add to the confusion, let me share one more book, which is Bernstein's Beyond Objectivism and Relativism. And in this book, he says this about praxis, and I think this is a helpful way of thinking about it. He says that praxis requires choice, deliberation, and decisions about what is to be done in concrete situations. In fact, when we're doing praxis, when we're engaged in praxis, we're reflecting in action. We're taking what we're learning and we're applying it to real life application. There's no sense in which this is a workshop and we don't see the value in it. We're really doing it. And in Unmistakable Impact, I came up with a little sort of Venn diagram to capture what we mean by reflection in action, or what we mean by praxis. And so if you imagine 3 circles, we're actually going to pop them up here. One circle being reflection, one circle being action, one circle being real life. At the overlapping section where we've got reflection, action, and real life all coming together, we are in the realm of praxis. When we do those 3 things, we're thinking, learning, applying in real life situations, and we're doing something. That's what praxis is all about. So let me give you an example. If you've looked at the videos of the coaching I did with Kat, a secondary teacher at Lawrence High School here in Lawrence, what we did, I think, is an example of praxis. Kat looked at a video of her class, and she said, these kids aren't as engaged as I'd like them to be. I'd really like to increase engagement. We identified a way to measure that. We identified a goal, and we said we wanted to be authentic engagement, 85%. And over time, we had to keep changing the way we did the measurement because our first measures didn't really work out. We moved to a thing called experience sampling, and that proved to be pretty helpful. Then we said what we're going to do is we're going to use questioning, and we're going to use thinking prompts to increase engagement. Show videos to the kids or tell stories or come up with a case, and then ask questions to provoke meaningful discussion in the class. We tried it out, and we realized that we had to change our thinking prompts. We ended up coming up with cases, and we wanted things that would really kind of stir the kids up a little bit. So we picked a case, for example, about cheating in class using your cell phones. And her class was a social studies Czech class, and she was trying to talk about how laws are developed. And so we used this case to explore where do laws come from, how do we decide what a law is like. And the kids had a lively discussion eventually about how that worked. We didn't get there right away. We had to make some adjustments. We had to explore different ways of doing it. We had to change the way we did our gathering of data. But that thinking about what we're doing is praxis, I think. Now, if Kat had just come to a workshop that we did on effective questioning or on what engagement is, she might have sat there and been half in and half out. But for her, it was really important that her kids were engaged. And so when she learned the ideas in the context of real life application, then the learning stuck. Then the learning made a difference. So when we look at this principle and we sit down with a teacher, we don't want to be doing something unless it taps into their purpose, unless they can see the value in it, unless we're working on something really important. And that's praxis. And praxis stands at the heart of what we do.